Greetings at Cheating Story Lab. Share your location below, as it's often those closest to us who possess the keys to truths we never sought. I'm ready to recount a tale that imparted an invaluable lesson. Loyalty isn't always where you anticipate, and deception can disguise itself in the form of friendship. My name is Tyler, and for the past 8 years I have been married to Victoria. We crossed paths at college, both of us pursuing business degrees, and we appeared to share everything in common. Victoria was ambitious, relentless, and had a contagious laugh that could brighten any atmosphere. Her childhood friend Jessica seemed like family to us. Jessica was ever present during girls' nights, double dates, holidays. She was sewn into the tapestry of our lives. Victoria worked at a mid-sized marketing firm downtown, and every summer they hosted an extravagant company picnic where families were invited, complete with games for children, music, catered food, the works. Over the years, I attended 4 of these gatherings, and they were consistently enjoyable. Victoria held these functions with great care, managing them meticulously to ensure their success. But this year felt unusual. In the run-up to the picnic, I observed Victoria growing more detached. She returned home later from work, spent prolonged periods on her phone, and when I attempted to discuss our day, she seemed preoccupied. It wasn't a sign of anger or distress. It was as if her thoughts were miles away. I attributed this to job tension. Her company was undergoing restructuring, and I knew she was anxious about her role. When I inquired about her well-being, she downplayed it with, "Just work matters, dear, nothing serious." However, Jessica displayed unexpected concern during this period. She would occasionally text me privately, asking how I was feeling, inquiring about my state, keeping abreast of Victoria's work affairs, or verifying if she had mentioned being under pressure. Last week, I found it touching that she seemed concerned about our marriage. Before the company picnic, Jessica dropped by for their regular get-together with the girls. Whilst in my home office working on a project, I could hear them chatting downstairs. Our house has thin walls and their voices carried. At first, I wasn't paying much attention until I heard Victoria mentioning me. "Tyler just doesn't get it." Her words made me pause, my typing fingers frozen. Telling myself it was mere venting, that every couple experiences tough times, I continued. However, Victoria's comments persisted. "He's so predictable, the same routine day after day, the same conversations, the same everything." As I listened, I felt a tightening in my chest and found myself unable to move as Jessica's voice softened, but Victoria's responses were clear. "You're correct, he's a good provider and expresses his affection for me. Yet at times, love alone seems insufficient, as one yearns for someone who sparks excitement, rekindles life." In the dimness, my computer screen cast the sole radiance, and I felt as if the ground had given way beneath me. This was my wife voicing her feelings about me, reducing me to a burden she's stuck with. The discussion veered elsewhere, but I could concentrate on little else. That night I feigned sleep, yet Victoria's words played repeatedly in my mind. Over the following days, I observed her differently. Each smile felt contrived, every "I love you" rang hollow. Was she merely going through the motions? For several months or years, Jessica texted me a day prior to our company picnic. "Hey Tyler, let's have a private chat tomorrow at the event. I have something crucial to talk about." Thinking it was concerning Victoria and her advice on our rocky situation, or perhaps her observation of our growing distance, I hoped. The picnic took place in a picturesque park with a shelter for food and speeches, where Victoria was busy coordinating every detail, ensuring the DJ had everything, checking in with caterers, greeting colleagues from the office while radiating genuine joy, something seldom seen at home lately. I mingled, engaged in small talk with coworkers' families, played lawn games, and attempted to maintain a normal demeanor. However, my mind kept returning to that conversation we had the previous week. Sometime in the middle of the afternoon, Jessica approached me near the drink station. "Can we step aside for a moment towards that quieter spot near some trees?" she indicated, away from the crowd. We proceeded, and she appeared anxious, fiddling with her phone. "Tyler, there's something I need to share, and I'm not sure how you'll respond." Her words made my stomach sink. Was she on the verge of revealing that Victoria was having an affair? Had I been absent more than I realized? "Last Friday when I visited your home," Jessica started, "Victoria said some unkind things about you and your marriage." I nodded slowly in understanding. "Yes, I heard part of the conversation." Jessica looked surprised by this. "You did? Then you understand how hurtful her words were." "It was painful," I acknowledged. "But perhaps she was just having a bad day, venting maybe?" Jessica shook her head. "Tyler, it wasn't a one-time incident. She speaks about you like that frequently. And it's not mere venting. She's actively considering other possibilities." The world seemed to sway. What do you imply by suggesting other possibilities? Jessica whispered. She's been involved romantically with someone from her workplace, she explained, her voice trembling slightly. I found out about it around 3 months ago. The revelation struck me like a physical blow. I had to lean against a tree for support, she apologized. I've been struggling over whether or not to tell you, but Victoria is my longest friend and what she's doing is troubling me, she continued. It's not right, you deserve more than this. I glanced at the ground, trying to make sense of everything. My spouse wasn't merely distant emotionally, she was cheating on me. There's still more, Jessica said, pulling out her phone. I recorded our conversation last week, not to spy, but because, well, I knew you might require proof one day. She passed me her phone along with earbuds. Simply listen to the final minutes. I slipped in the earbuds and hit play. Victoria's voice echoed clearly. Tyler would be heartbroken if he knew about Marcus, as he believes we are this ideal couple. He remains unaware that I have been seeing someone who rekindles my feelings of desire and still sends me flowers every Friday like newlyweds. My hands trembled as Victoria continued. Marcus and I plan to leave Tyler after the holidays. We want to do it discreetly. However, staying in this house, pretending to be happy, is draining me. Tyler may be a good man, but he's just so dull. He deserves someone who truly desires the life he offers. Next, Jessica's voice came through. Victoria, are you considering ending an 8-year marriage? Are you absolutely sure about this? I have never been more certain. Tyler will be all right. He'll likely find a woman who wants children and a white picket fence. That was never my path. I just convinced myself it was. The conversation lasted another minute, as Victoria disclosed her strategy for claiming the house during the divorce, having already consulted a lawyer. I removed the earbuds and passed the phone back to Jessica. A wave of numbness enveloped my entire body. I apologized to Tyler, knowing this was terrible. Across the park, Victoria was laughing with her colleagues, portraying the content wife at the company gathering. Why are you showing me this? I queried. Because you're a good person and shouldn't be taken unawares, and because, Jessica hesitated, because Victoria had asked me to keep her confidences but never instructed me to harm you in the process. For a long while I stood there, watching my spouse captivate those around her while plotting my downfall secretly, and I exclaimed abruptly, apparently, Victoria asked me to help set up the DJ system this morning. I can connect my phone to it. Jessica looked at me, with comprehension growing in her eyes. Are you certain about this, Tyler? I glanced at Jessica's phone, then toward Victoria in the park, planning to embarrass me privately post-holidays. Perhaps it's wiser to expose the truth publicly instead. Jessica passed me her phone. The recording commenced at 12:30. I walked back towards the pavilion, my heart racing. Victoria was now addressing the crowd for her customary thanks, preparing to thank everyone for attending the picnic. She looked radiant, confident, and at ease. I navigated towards the DJ booth and linked Jessica's phone to the sound system. The DJ had momentarily stepped away for refreshments, and no one paid heed to me. Victoria tapped the microphone. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our annual company picnic. The audience applauded, and I found the recording on Jessica's phone. As we conclude today, I simply want to express my heartfelt appreciation for each of you. The connections we forge here are incredibly precious to me. I glanced at him, my spouse of 8 years, as he listened, a contradiction to the covert damage being inflicted upon our relationship. My finger lingered above the play button. Today, I'd particularly like to acknowledge my husband Tyler for his presence and unwavering support. She directed a radiant smile at me. The room responded, their eyes on me, and they applauded. That instant I pressed play, Victoria's voice echoed through the speakers in the park. Little did Tyler know about Marcus. The applause ceased abruptly, as if a sudden realization had dawned upon them. In the park, Victoria's complexion turned pale as her declarations reverberated, revealing that I have been with someone who makes me feel cherished anew. Oblivious to this fact, he still brings me flowers every Friday, acting as if we were newlywed sweethearts. The crowd fell silent now, all eyes fixed on Victoria, whose mouth flapped open and closed, seemingly unable to find words. The recording proceeded, disclosing our conversation about my departure from Tyler after the holidays. A decent man, but rather monotonous, Marcus and I discussed this situation. Victoria's gaze locked with mine across the crowd. Her facial expression transitioned from stunned disbelief to a grimace of horror, then to an almost comforting semblance of relief, as everyone present heard every detail about Marcus, my lawyer, and our true feelings concerning our marriage. I severed the connection and stepped away from the DJ booth. The park remained utterly quiet save for birds in the canopy. As I strolled along, Victoria suddenly gripped my arm. Tyler, I can clarify. I glanced at her grip on my arm and her face. No explanation necessary from you, Victoria. Your closest confidant had recorded everything. Continuing towards the parking lot, I departed 8 years of matrimony, accompanied by hushed whispers trailing behind me. Jessica matched pace with me at my vehicle. Are you all right? After leaning against the car door, I felt as though I could breathe freely again. Around 3 months passed, divorce documents were submitted, and the subsequent week. Victoria attempted to keep our shared house, but her infidelity was unmasked by a recording. Now she's with Marcus, apparently content based on reports from mutual acquaintances. Jessica and I remain in contact, though without romantic intentions. We both needed time to process events. Despite not being romantically involved, we experienced something impossible together. Jessica sacrificed her oldest friendship by choosing honesty over loyalty, an act for which I'll always be grateful. At the picnic, watching Victoria's expression as her own voice played back, it wasn't revenge per se. Instead, it was truth. The same truth she would have used to secretly harm me, but this time with witnesses. Our closest people observe our best and worst moments, our hidden secrets, our genuine thoughts when we believe no one is listening. Victoria confided in Jessica about her infidelity, but Jessica opted to share the truth with me. At times like these, it can make all the difference. Thanks for allowing me to tell my story. If you've faced something similar, leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this one because the truth eventually surfaces.